Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Hope everybody is doing well out there. We're getting for some changeable weather.
Weather is always fun, always.
Yes. I hear Alaska's nice.
Oh, very nice. I think we should go visit.
Yeah, I had some interesting properties pop up in my feed.
Yeah.
So, please do subscribe both channels, Evolutionary as well as EEARTS. And I figured let's start with what we usually stop with. And so I just thought this was cute. And here you see, this is supposedly from NASA's real-time portal for Mars exploration. There's looks to be somebody over there, as you can see here. What could possibly be up there? What could possibly be up there? And I like looking at the tweets. Because 12 seconds later, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute. What? And it's no big deal. There's not a lot of cold beer on Mars. So, this is just, somebody came back to Earth to get some cold beer while they're working in the mines.
Sure, and, they just decided to stop and get photobomb on the way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if it was little grays or if it was some of those guys with those forked tongues. Who knows? It could be. And then I love this comment. Starlink. Yeah, now we could blame everything on Starlink. It's just Elon. It's just Elon. Actually, when you blow it up, it looks kind of weird. It's kind of squiggly-ish. Now, I don't know. A little serpentine action going on over there.
I don't know, like it's really, really black, like maybe there's some AI and maybe there's a little graphene something in there. I don't know.
Maybe it's just a cloud of graphene oxide.
Indeed, that has its own consciousness.
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah, curious. Love to get your guys' take. Okay, so we haven't heard everything as far as the details here, but here we see a tweet that came out. U.S. Attorney General Merrick B. Garland, senior Justice Department officials holding press conference on significant national security matter this afternoon. The Deputy Attorney General, along with the Attorney General, the FBI Director, and others here are going to be addressing national security cases about malign influence schemes and alleged criminal activity by a nation-state actor in the U.S. So in other words, will there be election interference? And, that's coming dang quick.
Well, will there be election interference? Has there ever been?
Ha ha ha. So it's the 24th, right? 31 days. So we got 15 days till election day. 15 days. 2 weeks from tomorrow. Can you feel it? I think we could feel it. It feels like all this stress is going up, 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 up.
As shadows get darker and smaller, they become more fierce.
And we noticed it with the comments because, most of the regulars all the regulars are as sweet can be. We love you guys. You're awesome. You're beautiful, beautiful souls shedding light on the darkness. Every now and then, though, you get some people that just gotta just stir the pot. And there's so much pot stirring going on. The bots stir the pot. And, Elon Musk was talking about firing 75-80% of everybody at Twitter. Start with purging the bots.
I think that would be a wonderful idea. Bring some more human caring and loving and, just people really genuinely caring about each other. Bring that in.
Then again, Elon has all those reptilian ties. He's not likely to do much true purging. I mean, he might purge, but there again, if so many people are even looking to Elon to be a savior. And there's that savior syndrome. There's a savior syndrome that we all, are exposed to on this planet. It doesn't take with a lot. With others, it does take. And it really influences us to a great degree. We're always looking for that person that's going to lead the way out of the darkness. Look within.
You know, I kind of like that savior syndrome. That's a thing. I think we just,
You
touched
like
on
that terminology.
I like the terminology because it's something that we need to take a closer look at. It's like, why are we always needing a savior?
Exactly. I like the way your eyes perk up when you say that.
Oh, baby.
Uh-oh. Sorry, guys. Rishi Sunak, of course, named the next UK Prime Minister with no vote, rules out a general election. Yeah, one of the news articles was putting a question mark saying, richer than the royal family? Question mark. Yeah, he is very, very wealthy and unelected by the people. But then I think you got to question, everything nowadays. You got to question. I think we need to question all the elections. There was a little gas escaping somewhere. Was that you, Rama?
Yeah, it was a bike tire, maybe.
Yeah. As we get closer to that November 8th, oh boy, the one thing I know for sure is it's going to be definitely inflammatory and potentially explosive. You could just sense it. You could see it. All the energy out there is all about division. And of course, who is this guy? Who is this guy? He's just another puppet on strings, albeit a very wealthy puppet.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got a good smile. That's it. And we all know, it's actors. They're actors. They take their directions literally from the darkness.
Yeah, I know. Actors have feelings too.
They do. And let's look at another actor over here. And, Gavin Newsom, of course, he's another one, as is Trudeau. And Trudeau was, making a statement saying, Happy Diwali, Festival of Lights over the Darkness. And it's like, oh, God. That's like Satan saying, Go Angels.
Yes. that's a good one, too. I love it.
Oh, yeah. And again, Satan just means adversary. And it's the adversary of humanity. Boy, there's a lot of adversaries that we could see every single day. And they're all talking about goodness and helping people. Yet everything just spirals down the toilet. How is that possible when all the intentions that are spoken are nice and benevolent, and we're going to help with this, we're going to help with that? Here you have 46 saying, wonderful things about the economy when the economy is about to just go places it's never gone, and it's not in a good direction. Oh, it's all about spin. Yes. And again, they could spin their way as they keep flushing the toilet, and we are all watching the system just go down the drain. New California laws will create ideological purity tests. That's what they're saying. An ideological purity test for police by banning ties to hate and bias. But who is going to define that? Who is going to define what that hate and bias is? Because, again, if you look at one group and you look at another group, they might define them in exactly the opposite ways.
That's one of the things that they do, and they're very, very good at it, is making definitions. They can take something, anything, where somebody has good intent, they're sharing their heart and soul, and these beings can come in and say, oh, no, we find fault in that, and we find hatred in that, and we're just going to shut you down. But what they're doing is they're finding people who are genuinely trying to do good things and help others and enlighten others, and those are the ones that they are shutting down by twisting that perspective. They're very good at it.
So he has signed 2 bills into law that will limit who's going to be eligible to be a peace officer, even as many cities across the Golden State struggle with police shortages. And that's all just starting, really. It's going to accelerate. There's going to be such a lack of people to fill in certain gaps. It's just going to cause chaos. It already is causing chaos. I got to just ask you guys, do you notice a lot more sirens these days? Does it sound like there's an awful lot of sirens, whether they're police or fire or ambulances?
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, on our end, yes, it's just really like night and day around here. I'm not sure what to make of that.
Yeah, because, again, we've been in a quiet area, and, we're getting the guidance again to look for a new area. As, again, all we got to do is look at certain projects. And, did you guys ever have a pogo stick?
I did. I did.
Really? Yeah. That was fun. I was never really that good at it. My cousin could do it for hours. But yeah, there were certain projects that talk about basically just the disappearance of vast amounts of souls upon the planet. And, I know that there's going to be a few people that catch what I was mentioning out there, because these projects are definitely being put together, structured, and started to be implemented. Ocean shipping costs decline 84%. Truckers on the verge of losing money. The period between Labor Day and Christmas is typically peak shipping season. Don't expect much of a peak this year. Just think about that. There's no backlog at California ports. Remember all those ships waiting to offload stuff? Well, the queue of ships waiting to unload at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach fell from a peak of 109 ships in January to four vessels this week. A data analysis group owned by supply chain software company Descartes Systems Group says container imports to the U.S. in September declined by 11% from a year earlier and by 12.4% from August. Shipping lines have canceled between 26 and 31% of their sailings across the Pacific over the coming weeks, according to Sea Intelligence. In September 2021, the average cost for a shipping container from Asia to the U.S. West Coast exceeded $20,000. Last week, the average cost to ship a container from Asia to the U.S. West Coast had declined 84% from a year earlier to $2,720. Now, this is going to perplex a ton of people. As you see next, the real reason that supply chain constraints are easing is because far fewer goods are moving through the supply chain. The last time that the Port of LA handled so few loaded import containers in September was during the Great Financial Crisis. So they look at this as extraordinary progress for our supply chains. And here you see today's daily national truckload index rate was $1.78, just about 3 cents above the break-even rate for some of the truckload carriers in the market. And this is, again, peak season. What was it? What do they call it? Black Friday? Black Monday?
I think it's Black Friday.
Black Friday? Black Monday?
Well,
that shows you how much we don't pay attention to anything. Honestly, we're not the example if you want to go by, traditional holidays and shopping and the consumerism and stuff. That's not us.
This is not your channel, yeah.
Yeah, we don't follow that. We're really, again, we follow our own cycles. We follow the cycles of nature, and we listen to what we get from the unseen world, that there's always this information coming in if we just still calm ourselves and feel what's out there. Put your energy out there and sense what's coming out there. All this really is a sign of the next step. And, as you see this big bankruptcy sign, yeah, there's a lot of businesses going down. They're going down because what's going to happen, we understand, is that it is really the virtual definition of fascism. It's when everything is going to be controlled by the state. The state and business is going to be one and the same. And of course, the first thing that really, really has to come about, because I don't think they're going to be able to do the complete great RESET until we've gone through the conflicts that are building and are, pretty much right out there in front of our faces.
Exactly, yeah.
This is going in stages. So, here you have somebody doing an aerial recon over the Port of Newark to figure out where do all the containers go if they fell off a cliff. Again, people are being pushed right now. All people have money for is the basics. So, you're going to find there's going to be great deals out there on new furniture. There's going to be great deals out there on all sorts of things, maybe new gaming systems for you gamers out there. All these things that we don't need, that are not basic necessities of life, are going to become actually cheaper in many cases. But the basics continue to go up. The food, the fuel, the energy costs. This is what people are struggling with.
And we have to find that place in our lives, like where do we not cut any corners? And I can tell you for Mike and I, it's with the food. The food, we're not going to cut corners there. We're not going to take, a deal over that when it comes to our health.
No, and this is something that's been foretold decades and decades ago, because right now our immune systems are under attack. And that's why we were posting there about doing a complete immune system reboot in 72 hours. And we're like 21 hours or so into a reboot right now. And it's something we do all the time. And we're talking about fasting again. And again, fasting doesn't cost you money. It could definitely save your life. And that's something we have to recognize and realize in this world, because we are exposed to all sorts of things that we haven't been exposed to all the time in times past. There's a reason why cancer rates are soaring through the roof. There's many reasons why, the life expectancy is declining. Fertility rates are crashing. Sperm counts are crashing. Humanity is facing a massive crisis, and if we aren't really taking care of ourselves, nobody else is going to.
No, our health just absolutely has to come first.
And here you see the Republican National Committee filed a lawsuit against Google. Oh boy. Accusing the tech giant of allegedly sending its emails straight to users' spam folders. Yeah. The one thing I notice all the time is, like, in the Twitter feed, everything that comes through the Twitter feed, it seems like constantly there's things that I don't want to see at all. And they're just suggesting, and truly everything is of a left nature. It's just gotten to be so obvious what's going on, and yet the left-right paradigm itself is just a massive tool in creating the dissension. Now, NATO allies warn Russia against the dirty bomb plot in Ukraine. The West sees Moscow as engaged in brinkmanship as it looks for an off-ramp from its faltering invasion. And again, faltering invasion, I think, again, everything we're seeing is an illusion. We understand it. This is all selling. This is sales. Absolutely. How can we trust the media? We can't trust media. And it's good that I think most people don't trust the media now. That's a positive step. As you see from Al Jazeera, Russia-Ukraine live news, dirty bomb claim false. And so they say, no. This is the exact opposite. Now, what we see is, the reality is that all these chess pieces are being controlled by invisible hands. So it's all part of a much bigger plan. And again, when we look to the bigger picture, the plan is to move the power structure towards Beijing and implement that CCP system everywhere. New crisis brewing for Venezuelans turn back at U.S. borders. So there is a particular Title 42 that is in play here, which enables U.S. immigration authorities to expel migrants and asylum seekers to Mexico under the pretext of the plague upon the land. So what they could do is send them from certain countries like Venezuela back. And yet we have seen basically Texas National Guard sending people away, and then the feds come and say, no, they could come in. And again, we've talked a million times about the fact that the CCP has bought so much acreage right on the border. And, there's so many officials from that particular organization that have come straight out and talked about what's going on now. If you just look a little bit deeper, we're deep into this conflict. We're deep into the conflict. It's just a matter of when's it going to go completely openly hot. Well, we look to astrology for answers there.
Indeed, and there's a lot of answers in astrology. And once you start realizing this and you start putting things together, you really see how well they understand astrology, and the controllers use astrology for these waves of consciousness that are coming up and down, using those stars to create something or give something a little push, a little shove, a little nudge in their direction. And something we've noticed, and I'm sure you guys have felt it, so many people feeling these eclipse energies, and Mars moving into retrograde is a very real thing. And when I see the dates on these planetary things that are happening, it's never only on that one date. No, the energies move in and out like a wave. They come in, they peak, and they move out. So there's definitely these influential energies moving in and rising until they peak, and then they move out. So you can feel things as they come. Now, one thing that I've noticed particularly really strong is those eclipse energies bringing the darkness up and out of people, which is necessary. We need to purge. If there's something hurting inside of us and we have to lash out at something or express ourselves, then that's what we need to do. I think the only thing that we should be mindful of is who we do it to. Because one thing I've always said is hurt people. There's something going on inside of them. And if they lash out, that doesn't mean it's because of you. And once we find that out and we come to that understanding, life gets a lot easier because you're able to see those people that are truly hurting. And it's not about you. But we do have to sit here in this time and really work on ourselves, see what's coming up to the top and look at that, inspect that, see if there's some type of resolution or if something's coming in for you. Like there's many things that have come up for me lately where I look back in my life and I've said, you know what, that was not okay. That was not okay. It's like, what do you think about this that's happened to you? What do you think about that's happened to you? And sometimes you just have to say, no, it's not okay, and it wasn't, and then believe that in your heart. And then guess what? That aspect of you has now been acknowledged. It has now been understood. It has now been expressed. It's now been recognized. And I really encourage and invite everyone to look at those parts of themselves and give it recognition.
Well said.
Thank you.
And Mars retrograde 2022 reminds us that self-control matters. Oh yeah, because again, Mars is going retrograde in just a matter of a few days, around the 30th, and that is going to accentuate a lot of the negative aspects. Mars, we right off think this is the god of war, right? Aries, yes. Mars. And war, conflict, it also is kind of, it's testosterone. Mm-hmm. It's aggression. And we've noticed it. We could see it in people, and it's pretty obvious. Where people that normally would be maybe a little more reserved are just, they're not able to. Well, this is part of the planetary influences that are in play. So what do? Well, again, ground, root, things like doing mantras. We are just, in our own practice, we've been accentuating the spiritual with, a morning session and an evening session, and where we can, an afternoon session too, just to make sure that we don't let the darker energies get in control of us. And we are being influenced by the darker powers that be constantly. They're constantly trying to get us to lose control and to lash out.
I think that's such a huge important point, is understanding that those darker energies cannot take control. We do need to give those things in our lives recognition that need recognition, but it's what we do with this energy that really matters right now. And we're all in a place where we have decisions to make. How are we going to direct this energy? When it comes to Mars energy, Mars wants to be recognized for its courageous abilities. Mars wants to be recognized for its protective abilities. And if we can take some of those Mars energies and turn it in the right direction, then we're using the best parts of these planetary energies we possibly can.
And then the next thing that's coming up is the solar eclipse, which for perhaps most of us, since about 70% of the people watching are in the US, and then we have a pretty big portion of people over in the UK. Maximum amount of about 15% of the sun surface will be blacked out by the moon on Tuesday. And we have a good deal of people over in Canada and also in Australia and New Zealand. So really this particular eclipse is going to be centered more towards Asia. And here we go here. Now the thing that's neat is always that we end up getting a lunar eclipse 2 weeks later after the solar eclipse. So early on the morning of Tuesday, November 8th, the moon's going to plunge completely into the shadow of the Earth, producing a total lunar eclipse that will be visible from North America, as well as parts of South America, Central and East Asia, Australia, and New Zealand. But as a prelude, 2 weeks prior, on Tuesday, October 25th, the new moon will orbit between the sun and the Earth, causing a partial eclipse of the sun to take place. To produce this upcoming solar eclipse, the moon's shadow will scrape the northern polar regions of Earth. It will be visible from an eastern slice of Greenland, all of Iceland, as well as most of Europe except Portugal, and the western southern portions of Spain, northeast Africa, and over much of western and central Asia. So you can also watch it live. As you see, this is the area that's going to have the best viewing. So, it again is going to be one of those things that's going to add to the energies that we're already in and going through. And the powers that be know this. They know this. We can feel that they're up to something. They're building up to something. So as you see here, only 10% coverage. And as you go over here, past Moscow, east of Moscow, 70%. So you'll have a better view over there.
Right. It's definitely going to bring stuff up. And our job is to look at it at an individual level. But when we're looking at the controllers, they're using these energies as an expanded situation to help bring about certain things.
So the moon's orbit of the Earth is tilted by 5 degrees to the ecliptic, but it must cross the ecliptic twice each month. These two positions are called the nodes. Usually it reaches these nodes when the sun and the moon seem far apart from our point of view on Earth. This is why the eclipse does not occur each and every new moon, because the moon is above or below the sun, and the full moon because the moon is above or below Earth's shadow. And eclipse season can only happen when the moon is perfectly lined up to intersect the ecliptic. When it does, you get two of these: a lunar eclipse at full moon when the Earth is between the sun and the moon, blocking sunlight from reaching the lunar surface, and a solar eclipse at the new moon when the new moon is between the Earth and the sun. When the moon reaches one of these nodes to cause a kind of eclipse, it's going to hit the other eclipse node 2 weeks later. Occasionally it hits a node for a third time 2 weeks after that.
I'm sorry, this is something's coming in that's really, they're tapping me on my shoulder to mention mantras, 108 mantras. If you want to create some kind of a reset in your life, now is a time to be doing mantras when these eclipse energies are happening. They're going to help reset us emotionally in many different ways, but we have to stay open to the possibilities. But yes, this is a great time to do those mantras. Get your mala beads, 108, and start practicing. It can be as simple as Om, or you can look and see, and we have many that we've done on our playlist.
There's 37 videos there, and some are, going in depth a little bit more on particular details of certain mantras, and a few are actually just playing the mantras. Again, mantras are given to us from the golden age. This is some of the leftovers of that golden age knowledge given to us by the benevolent beings, and done so in a way, again, these are constructed so that they open up chakras. They are chakra opening. And Cindy and I, we do mantras before we do videos. We haven't always done that, but we make a point of doing that now. And we have a lot less problems as far as technical difficulties, sound, things like that, because the guides go through and clear the way for us.
They do. And it can really help you guys too. It can really bring you a lot of peace. And we actually had a session with our Miss Terry Bell today. Hi, Terry. And before our session, she was doing mantras and burning sage. And this time, like the last couple of sessions we've had with her, there was all kinds of interruptions. But with this time where she burned the sage, she did her mantras, we had a very clear session, no interruptions from anyone, and we were able to get all of our questions answered and all of our things done today. It was fantastic.
That's a beautiful thing. So, please do go in and check out some of these different mantras. And again, there are so many, and I'll put a list up on maybe the next video to give you some artists that I think make beautiful music and share the mantras in their music. Just even having something like that playing in the background can completely change the energy in a room. The dark demonic forces flee from these energies, from these sounds. They cannot handle them.
Well, what happens is these darker forces are very, very chaotic. They're in a chaotic state. So when we're saying these mantras, even as simple as Om, we're bringing our energy bodies, we're bringing our minds into a place of calm and order. So when things are patterned in an orderly way, they cannot just linger around. They must be pushed out. It's actually very, very scientific. That when it comes to science, things can be really put in a box sometimes and very limited. But yes, it brings a lot of order to your life, and it pushes those chaotic energies out and away from you.
So again, guys, thank you so much for your support over on Ko-Fi and Patreon. On Patreon, there's different tiers, and you could become a Patreon family member for as little as $1 support a month. While we're in this monetary system, it is appreciated because it does enable us to do what we do. And then over on Ko-Fi, where you could do a one-time donation or monthly as well. Do check out Medicinal Foods. Lots of goodies there, lots of healthy stuff. Stuff you might not expect, but we do need to be taking care of our temple, our bodies, because, it's true. We're in deep spiritual warfare that does also have physical consequences.
And we have to recognize our power, and we really, really thank you. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.